Good morning, everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful start to your morning. Today, we're covering off chapter 10 of the book Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. Chapter 10, there's 12 chapters. We're nearly done with this book. You can look back and see all of the information that we've had. We've got activity sheets on each chapter, a little bit of my take on each chapter, and getting through some of all of the things that are great in leadership. Skills to learn and things to implement in your personal life towards goals, or your business towards your goals or your company's achievements you want to accomplish. So chapter 10, let's get into chapter 10, leading up and down the chain of command. Leading up and down the chain of command. This is interesting. I thought it was a great kind of take on how to take responsibility again, take ownership. I'm going to read a little bit from the book and then also some of the questions that we have from the activity sheet. So from the book, it talks about how if your boss isn't making a decision in a timely manner or providing necessary support for you and your team, don't blame the boss. All right? Blame yourself first. Examine what you can do better to convey the critical information and decisions to be made and support allocated. All right, so what we're saying there is you can look at different situations in your work or in your personal life where things aren't going the way they should, or you're not getting the information that you need, but look at what you can do better to be more clear, to be more thorough, to be more understood, so that you can then get the resources or the information that you need from the up the chain, right? So this is leading up the chain and down the chain. So I thought that was good. It forces us to take some responsibility on maybe I'm not being as clear, or maybe there was something that I can do better to show the information that I have so that we can get the help that we need. Achievement-orientated leaders look at what they can do instead of blaming others. I love this part because blame is such a quick reaction to everything. I'm going to blame the government. I'm going to blame COVID. I'm going to blame that my car broke down. I'm going to blame that the weather was crappy today. I'm going to blame that I had a headache. I'm going to blame that I'm sick this week. Okay, but we've got to take responsibility, right? We have to take responsibility. Achievement-oriented leaders look at what they can do instead of placing blame, right? We need to be responsible for everything in our life, and we can make the choice and decide whether we're going to do that, blame everything and everyone, or if we're going to step up and change the situation. We have responsibility for that. As a leader, if you do not understand why decisions are made, requests denied, and support not allocated, you need to pose the question up the chain. You need to help understand. You need them to help you understand why, so that you can then convey that information down to your team. There's no point in just going with, oh, this sucks, and tell your team the same thing. I don't know why, but this sucks. No, figure out, ask, be polite, and be thoughtful on what you're doing. You're going up the chain to understand why and what is happening there so that you can better communicate it down the chain. That's really important because we're all on the same team, right? If you're on a team and you're working with people above you that you're not quite sure on why they're making certain decisions, we are all on the same team. If we're on the same team, then let's act like it, right? Moving up the chain, moving down the chain. Okay, question number 1 on chapter 10. This is on our activity document. I'll put it in the comments, and I'll put my thoughts in the post. How can we make sure we are communicating the bigger picture to your team in a clear, concise, and simple way? How can we make sure we're communicating the bigger picture to your team in a clear, simple, and concise way? For me, I think to remember keeping the explanation of what I am trying to convey simple so that all levels can understand. No matter if you just started yesterday in the company, or if you're talking to a younger person in your family, that everyone from the youngest or the newest to the most senior can understand. So it's clear and it's simple. One other way is to reiterate, to remind and repeat the bigger picture. Maybe it's a weekly reminder, maybe it's a text, maybe it's a meeting, maybe whatever works for your situation, but it's repeated, right? We need to repeat it, and we need to stay on the same track. Because we also need to have someone letting us know of changes. What happens when things change? We need to then clearly convey that in a simple way so that the youngest or the newest to the most senior or the most, had the most anniversaries of years of service can understand what's happening, why the changes are happening, and what we can do about it. And I also think that to have someone in the team repeat back, to reiterate, if you spoke to someone and you were explaining the situation, then I would say, what did that mean to you? Can you explain it back to me? How did that sound to you? What does that sound like? Let me know what you think, so that everybody understands. So that's how I would keep it simple, clear, and concise for all the people, youngest to oldest in your team, right? Most senior to the newest in your team or in your family. The last question, so there's only 2 questions here on chapter 10, covering off leading up the chain and leading down the chain of command. What do you think of the 3 factors of being aware of leading up and down the chain? So there's 3 things that they mention. Take responsibility for leadership of everyone. So take responsibility for leading everyone. If a team member is not doing what is planned, a leader should look in the mirror and determine what you can do better to better the situation. And then the last one must not ask his leader what he should do, but instead tell the leader what he's going to do. So there's the 3 things. This is what I think about these 3 things. 1, I think that if people will struggle with because they like to blame. So if people like to blame instead of being responsible for leading everyone is a big task, right? That means that you're trying to lead even people that are more senior to you. Why and how? By clearly communicating up the chain, by presenting information different, by suggesting things that might help, by following the orders or the tasks or the information you've been given, by clearly going up the chain to understand why things are done that way so that you can better clearly understand it and then convey it down the chain. So I think people will struggle with that one because leading everyone means you're responsible for everyone. So I think that's a great way to look at it. I think it's a great way to be the most effective. Number 2, look at those around you people look to those around them before they look inward, right? So this is, the number 2 is more so looking at what you can do to better the situation instead of looking to blame. Because number 2 is a team leader is not going to do what is planned. A leader should look in the mirror and they should determine what they can do better in the situation. So if something's not being done that you wanted, then maybe you weren't clear enough. Maybe you need better instruction next time. Maybe you need a better time frame. Maybe you need better information for the team that didn't come through with what you wanted to happen. They didn't understand it, or maybe it was left out altogether, or maybe there was something missing. So what is it that you could do better? Look to you instead of just being like, these guys didn't listen. They're not doing it right, and we need to fix this. Well, look inwards first. And then the last one, I agree that once a leader at any level knows their responsibilities, right, knows what they can do, what they should be doing, that they should look at doing what's the best interest of the bigger picture, of the goal of the company or of the goal of the moment. They should be responsible for making decisions and moving forward. They're telling you what we're doing. Oh, I'm in this situation right now. This is what I'm going to do. They're making that clear instead of just going into a situation and going, oh, I don't know. What should I do? No, you should be like, this is what I'm doing. How does that sound? Let's move forward. Right? You should be able to make decisions no matter what level you're at. Okay, take ownership of the level that you are at. When changes come up with solutions. I always like this one too. This was what I would always explain to people about challenges that come up in life, about situations that you want to complain about. Complaining is a choice, right? You don't have to complain, right? That's a choice. And when you're in a business, my point of view is that you should always complain up and not amongst yourselves, okay? If you have a challenge, then take it up. Take it up the chain and explain it, and then they might be able to help you better understand why or what's happening. But just spreading it out through the team or amongst the customers, that's going to just be like a virus. So I always think that it can have a place. Complaining needs to go up, okay? Complaining goes up. It doesn't go around and down. It'll be a virus that will destroy whatever you're trying to accomplish. So don't complain. Take responsibility. Here's what I get from all this. Keeping it simple, keeping it clear, and taking responsibility. Right? And so I'll put in as my take on this chapter 10, on Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. We're nearly at the end of this book. Let's see. Let's look at how we can do these things, how we can keep it simple, clear, and take responsibility for everything in our life. Keeping it clear, keeping it simple, and taking responsibility. Why? Because then you have better relationships. You have better relationships at work. You have better success in your personal life and in your business. So my challenge to you is keep it clear, keep it simple, and take responsibility, and have a wonderful day. We'll talk to you soon.